Welcome to the Philosophia podcast. Join our hosts Trevor and Alfredo as they plumb the depths of philosophy, religion, science, and history. Learn with us and laugh with us here on Philosophia.
Welcome to Philosophia. I'm Trevor, joined live in person by my co-host Alfredo. Alfredo, how are you?
Good to actually see you with no cyber bandwidth and yada 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 issues. How do I sound?
You sound great.
Like I'm not a robot.
You sound fantastic.
Like I'm actually part of this podcast.
Yes, you do.
You can hear my S's and P's and T's.
And so people listening or hopefully watching, the degree of difficulty we've had making what seems like it should just be really easy. Two people talking in a room being recorded.
Right.
Everything has gone wrong.
Well, there's a lot of logistics involved. For instance, we're doing three things at the same time.
We're drinking, so that doesn't help.
Oh, yeah, that's the other part. That's the best part. But we're recording this video, and then we're putting this into a new mixer for audio. And then what else are we doing?
Well, we've got a camera that was probably invented by Henry Ford. It's from the early 20th century for sure. And it keeps going to sleep. So by now, the camera could be asleep for all I know right now. We're not even on camera. But no, I don't think so. We wanted to do the camera, one, because we're here together in person, so it's cool. But also because I have a PowerPoint. So we thought we could kind of make this a YouTube video.
Yes. Actually seeing you without seeing the screen, I can see why people had like Zoom fatigue. Remember that? We went through that stuff, man. You and I years ago through some classes, some MRI and imaging. Remember that?
I feel like this is an unpopular opinion, but I don't mind Zoom.
Why?
Because
you don't like me in person?
No.
Thank you.
Not for our podcast, for school, because don't look at the camera's not there. Because you can turn your camera off. You can have a sip of your michelada for school.
Or you can be in shorts or don't wear any pants.
You can be pantless like I am right now.
Shout out to Enrique for that one.
Oh, he did his dissertation in his
shorts,
gym shorts.
But it was like with a badass tie.
That's pretty funny. But anyway, enough about that and our struggles with audio and video.
Yeah.
I've made a PowerPoint.
I'm glad we having struggles.
Struggles are good.
Struggles are good because a lot of people, everyone has struggles. That means that we're not perfect, and we can just connect to other people who have struggles.
Failure's a good teacher as long as it doesn't happen too often. You start getting
that's right
a little down. Hey, what do you got right there? What is that?
This magical potion,
hold it up for the camera.
This is a very unique beer that a friend of mine introduced me years ago. And it's from Belgium. It's Delirium Tremens, which is an actually condition for those who drink a lot. Not me, but they're going through alcohol withdrawal, and they see pink elephants like Dumbo.
So there's a pink elephant. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And so this thing is really, really good, actually.
Is it just for show, or is it for?
Well, we're gonna see, right? So it's an empty.
Did you bring enough?
Are we gonna have a PowerPoint? Yeah, I think so. Let me see.
It's just an empty bottle that you brought.
What should not open?
Trevor, I thought you'd really appreciate this artwork. Oh no, no, a test of strength. A test of strength. Don't shoot me with. Oh my gosh, it's like beer. A champagne bottle.
Yeah, where's your glass right here? It's like champagne but beer.
This is the worst thing to do probably with a microphone is like drink beer.
Let me see what you think.
Okay.
It might not be cold enough.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Smells good, huh? I think it's about 10%.
That's quite good.
8.5, actually.
That's quite good.
Yeah, right? Salute.
Man, okay, salute.
Salute. And yeah, it's I love this beer. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, people have to know.
Yep.
Are you going to brag about it?
Yeah, please. I was hoping you would, so it didn't look self-congratulatory.
Trevor has been through, you do that all the time anyway, has been up and down submitting and cleaning his main research paper on longevity, and we're so proud of him. Because it's a group of people.
Thank you.
And so proud of him. He got accepted last night, or
yeah. I think it was I think it was yesterday.
in
or
the
the day
PhD
before.
world, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, this was the journal that I expected to not get accepted to. But
Oh, that's even better.
you always just like, hey, let's just go for the number one journal
Nice.
in the field,
Aim for the best.
and hopefully
Top
they'll
shelf.
reject me quickly, and then I can apply to them. But they accepted it, so it was a bit of a battle. I didn't actually know this. I learned this from a chat room recently. But there are memes about Reviewer 2. It's like an online,
Oh, I've seen that.
and it's like Reviewer 2 is just an asshole.
Right.
and he
Supposed to
talks
be,
down
right?
you. And funny enough, my Reviewer 2.
No way.
Actually, I mean,
What does it mean, reviewer 2?
well, so there's when you submit your paper, assuming you pass editorial review, which is like the managing editor says, yeah, this is a good paper, we want it in our journal. Then they send it out to multiple reviewers, peers that are experts in that particular
Not
topic.
necessarily from the same journal, from that entity.
No, these are like people,
Contractors?
like you and me. They're scientists, and so
Experts in the field.
yeah, exactly. And so they send it out, and in my case, I had 3. The last paper I did, I had 5, which was kind of crazy. But,
Oh, wow.
But this time we had 3. You can tell they're experts because of their feedback. They're asking about like, what did you use DE-seq2 to analyze your mRNA? So they know what they're talking about, right? And reviewer 2 didn't like some certain aspects about the paper. And it turns out the aspects he didn't like
Where
were typos.
no way.
So if my statistician, who will remain
It
unnamed,
goes back to that.
but you can read my paper if you want to know who it is, messed up my tables. And I mean, that's the cop out. I should have caught it, but I didn't. But the thing is, the typos were the p-values, which that's a statistical result. So I don't have anything to compare that against.
Well, that's like our Bible.
Right. But I mean, but to be fair, I ran the statistics myself, and I should have known. Anyway, that's the point is the control group had a significant change, and the reviewer's like, your control group's not supposed to have any significant changes.
Right.
That's the point of a control group
Oh, that's because of the typo.
because of the typo.
Oh, my goodness.
So instead of a p-value of
Yeah.
0.013 or sorry 0.13, it was 0.03. So
Kind of like a huge difference.
it was and
It was
so
a night and day.
my expectation was when I said that they were going to say, okay, amateur, apply.
Now you
somewhere
want
else.
to change it?
But I think I got the sense that the editor wanted to publish it, and so
It's a great study.
Thank
dude.
you.
It's
Thank
a
you, man.
solid, great study. I was there for both your topic defense and your defense dissertation, and you just blew it out of the park.
I
Salute.
appreciate it.
Hey, cheers, prost.
It's done.
Slanche.
What's slanche?
You don't know what slanche is?
I know probst. I know salute.
I'm probably gonna get stoned by Irish for not saying
Is that
it
an Irish
correctly.
one?
Yeah, it's an Irish thing. Slanche. I've been practicing, but I just still kind of comes out. But it sounded like it came out like I knew what I was talking about, right?
Yo,
Sounded
absolutely.
original.
Dude, I'm having a hard time concentrating on what you're saying because you sound so good
Oh, because we're in the same
compared to
room.
being over Zoom.
I'm telling you, man, this is gonna be a good podcast.
Oh man, I'm excited.
Yeah, isn't this a great idea?
How is it that both our mics aren't picking you up and that doesn't cause some kind of issue?
Because am I picking you up by yours as well? It's
I don't
because
know.
of your mixer.
No, I don't know.
My micro, I don't know, because
You
you have
sound
the.
great.
Thank you. Well,
So I'm sure it's going to sound great on tape.
it's
but
the beer, Trevor.
it's the beer.
Well, we'll see. We need some feedback,
There's a
guys.
few too many beers. And
So this is a feedback show as
yeah,
well.
to let us know. Is the camera still on? Have you heard it click? Should I check before we get going? I mean, people will be able to see
Yeah.
what's going on my
Yeah.
computer, but no, it turned off. Do you just want to hit the focus button every 15 minutes? I don't know if it's on every 8 minutes or every 15 minutes. You just lightly hold it down. Click the lever back, the live view lever. Yeah, wow, this is you're good. Come on back. No, it's good. It's working. It's just I'm just laughing at how unprofessional.
We're doing three, but this is way fun, way more fun
is
than
great.
just sitting on the computer. Oh, that was fun. So we're gonna do a bit of both. Well, we'll see. You come to my house. I'm here at your house, which is really nice.
Welcome to my.
I love it.
My wife and my's office.
Now
studio.
we're really best friends.
That's right. We
were friends before, but
I was just telling Alfredo, a podcast I listened to. They were, one of the hosts was saying, when does someone go from being an acquaintance to a friend? Mm-hmm. And they were saying once they've been to your house, Mm-hmm. Not that everyone who comes to your house becomes your friend, but
yeah, for a moment I thought I had no friends because no one really comes to my house. But when you said best friends, well, that makes a total difference.
Of course,
that makes a total difference. That means you really have to do it at my house.
Absolutely, and you have a better camera, hopefully, so we can actually record.
We have a better camera.
It's already been donated to the show?
It's donated to the show, my friend. It has no purpose but to be ours.
Fantastic. Yeah. Honestly, an iPhone would probably be the best thing in the world, but I can't figure out how to get it to connect. So anyway, enough of that.
Okay.
We're talking about the true nature of reality tonight. So a light topic.
Oh, thanks for letting me know.
The wrong. Yeah, Alfredo. This is just being dropped on Alfredo. And
let me upload that library.
And we're drinking. So this is the worst possible show to drink on. But
this is my reality right now.
Let me read a quote to you.
Okay.
If you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics. Richard Feynman. And so that's actually, I found out, not really his exact quote. His exact quote was more like, once you start trying to understand quantum mechanics, you're going to go down some dark alleys because it's basically beyond our level of comprehension. And so that's a Nobel Prize winning physicist saying nobody understands this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so with that in mind, a couple of rookies, not physicists by any stretch of the imagination.
But you can always aim for the stars.
I think it's
ad astra ad aspera. Through the stars, through adversity. To the stars, through adversity.
Wow, you're a wealth.
I am telling you, it's
a delirium.
The delirium. That's all there is.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something, but I can't really put my finger on what it reminds me of. It has like it has almost like
the aftertaste, or
it has like a clove.
I don't even know, man. These guys are really
not
good.
Not to be like, it's like a white pepper, a pinch.
We're beer connoisseurs.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. So can I walk you through this?
Yes, please.
All right. Alfredo's texting during the show, you guys. I don't know if you can see that on YouTube. Goodness gracious. And we're going to cover a light topic, the double slit experiment, quantum mechanics. Can you multitask this? It's okay. Finish it up. Finish up the conversation. All right.
Trying to order something through Amazon.
Oh, he's buying a splitter for that.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay. All right. So double slit experiment. So back in the day, I don't know exactly, 50s, 60s, 70s, back kind of in the heyday of physics. Like we split the atom. Mm-hmm. We're dropping bombs, which is terrible. But from a physics perspective, a breakthrough. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to figure out, is light a particle or a wave?
Both.
And that's the mainstream version.
No way.
It's actually not.
I've been fed lies.
Well, it's both, but it's not like. I
thought it were, according to some scientists, they're waves and or particles.
It is, but I feel like that papers over the true magnificence of what matter and energy actually is. Okay. So if you're looking at the screen, check us out on YouTube, Philosophia. There's 100 Philosophias, so I'll put the link in the podcast description, and you can find it that way. But they're on the screen. Let me turn this for Alfredo. There are two setups, two experimental setups. You have let's call it a photon gun. It says electron. We'll come to that in a second, but a photon gun. So little particles of light. Mm-hmm. And on the left, we have a photon generator shooting like a shotgun spray of photons through a double slit.
Photons are packages of light, FYI.
Exactly. And this is really before we knew what photons were, but we knew
okay.
we could send these little bits of light, right?
Oh, got it.
And so on the left, what you see is, how would you describe what you see on the left?
I see 3 bars and then a wall in the back, like, because I play tennis. And so I see some tennis balls or photons
Yeah.
go through the slit or the empty space and then hitting the wall in the back.
Exactly. So we have a double slit, and the wall in the back, which is like a film, like a photo film. It's almost like you sprayed spray paint through a stencil, right? It's the exact same shape.
So, okay.
But you have 2 slits in the front, and the pattern it leaves on the wall behind it are 2 slits, right?
So our reality says that if we throw tennis balls through those slits, it's going to reflect in the back wall. Yes?
Basically, if light is a particle, this is what we would expect to see.
Right.
We would expect little tennis balls to fly through.
Reality.
Exactly.
Right.
We would expect little tennis balls to fly through the slits.
Makes sense.
If it's a wave, we'd expect to see this image on the right. This is an interference pattern.
Oh, back there? Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. And so basically what happens is the light goes through both the slits, but it interferes like crests of a wave in a pond. Mm-hmm. And it actually creates 5 bars instead of 2.
Cool.
And
that's weird.
So this was the experiment. This was the hypothesis. It's one of these 2 possibilities. And it was this one.
So these are particles and that's light.
Yeah. This is what we would see if it was particles of light.
And those are waves.
This is what we would see if light's a wave.
Got it.
So if light's a particle, we'd expect this.
As we know it, or as they knew it.
Back then, yeah.
Back then, got it.
And so which of these do you think it was? It was this one.
Which one?
Light's a wave. That's what the experiment...
Not particles?
No, the experiment showed us that light...
So you mean to tell me that there are 5 possible realities out of 1 reality?
No, you're getting ahead.
Sorry.
Hang on. We're laying the groundwork. I told you delirium was a mistake, man. We're laying the groundwork here. This is going to get crazy. But we see this, light's a wave. Now, the weird thing is we're able to send 1 photon at a time. And now later on, we realize we can send a single photon, right?
Okay.
So light's clearly a particle, right? But then why does it look like a wave in this experiment? So the question is, well, let's just send 1 photon at a time, over and over and over for days, right? 1 photon at a time.
Instead of many.
Right. And so 1 photon can't interfere with itself.
Right.
So we should see this. We should see a particle distribution. You really need to be watching the YouTube to understand what we're talking about. But we should see a particle distribution, but we don't. So somehow the photon is interfering with itself. Mm-hmm. And the idea that physicists came up with is that it kind of goes through both slits simultaneously.
The same one.
The same photon, which cannot be divided. It's impossible.
Crazy.
It breaks the laws of physics. Goes through both. Mm-hmm. So what would your next question be? You'd want to know, well, can we measure it going through both slits, right?
Yeah, of course. That's exactly what I was thinking.
So that's the next experiment. We put sensors on each slit to detect the photon.
Sensors. Nice.
Guess what happens? It doesn't behave like a wave anymore. It behaves like a particle.
Why?
We're going to build up to that.
Okay.
But light, when we're measuring, let's just call it a which way detector. Mm-hmm. When we're measuring which slit the light goes through, it stops behaving like a wave. It starts behaving like a particle. So then they go, well, let's see what happens with electrons. Electrons are absolutely particles. Mm-hmm. It's a fundamental particle. Right. It's not a wave.
Right.
If we're not measuring...
Has a mass, right?
Has a mass. If we're not measuring it, 5 bars, it behaves like a wave. So that's right there, mind-blowing, right?
Yes.
Because a particle is behaving like a wave.
Right.
If we are measuring it, behaves like a particle. So then we go, what if we did a whole atom? Well, if we're not measuring it, it behaves like a wave.
Same thing.
If we're measuring it, it behaves like a particle.
What?
What about a molecule? Right. Gold, lead. If we're not measuring it, it behaves like a wave. If we are measuring it, it behaves like a particle.
So what are the implications of that?
This goes all the way up to the largest molecule they've ever done, I think, is about 1,000 atoms.
Okay.
And then it starts becoming more and more difficult to do the experiment with larger and larger molecules. But anyway, Here are the implications. Here's one possible interpretation. I wonder if it turned off. Yeah. We're good. Is that something I should go back and edit? No. I don't think so.
The video, maybe. I don't know.
That's all good. Okay.
1,000 molecules.
Yeah.
Molecules.
Dude, now I can't even open PowerPoint. This is just an absolute...
What happened?
I can't even open PowerPoint now.
No.
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
All right. So here's the deal. Matter seems to behave like a wave when it's not being observed because you can't see it. You can't see these things. When it's being observed or measured, in this case, it behaves like a particle. So the idea is that consciousness renders matter into reality upon observation.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of making this up as I go, but it's
Consciousness.
the act of observation, consciousness,
No, the same statement.
renders
Yeah.
matter into physical reality.
If observed.
Once
Is that what you
observed.
said?
So the fridge in the other room isn't there because we can't see it or hear it. But as soon as we get within conscious awareness of it, it materializes. It exists in a probability wave. Just like the atom that goes through somehow both slits, which is impossible for a particle to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
It exists in a probability until it is observed. And then it has to make a choice. It has to pick a slit.
And this is at the quantum level.
All the way up to molecules.
That's true.
I mean,
He did say that.
at some point, I think the problem is the molecule gets so big. I don't know. I mean, maybe 1 billion atoms. I don't know at what point you can see it, but at some point matter gets so big you can see it. So it's never going to behave like a wave while you're watching it, right? So anyway, the point is consciousness brings matter into physical existence. So the idea is that consciousness creates the universe, not the universe created consciousness.
Wow. So God only exists in our brain. That's what quantum physics is saying.
Reality only exists in our brain. Reality is happening in our brain.
Reality. Whatever you make of reality.
Yeah, and so this has been used to justify like
Wow.
the holographic universe. We're living in a simulation.
Right. Oh,
There's more. There's more. Are you ready?
But wait, there is more.
So then we go, okay, what happens if we measure the particle after it already goes through the slit? It should behave like a wave, right? Excuse me. It should behave like a wave because it wasn't being measured as it went through the slit.
It was measured after.
It was measured after. It behaves like a particle.
What?
So it's as if the particle either knew it was going to be measured, or it went back in time once it passed the measurement device and made a decision which slit to go through.
Wow.
It gets weirder still, man. Now let's say we make a photon generator. We're still recording our video, good. That creates 2 entangled photons, or 2 entangled electrons, or 2 entangled atoms that shoot off like this in this picture. There's a double slit in the path of one of the photons, but not the other. This photon, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but yeah, this photon will behave however this photon behaves. So if we don't observe this one, they'll both act like a wave. If we observe this one, they'll both act like a particle. Oops. Even though it wasn't actually being measured.
Oh, that's wild.
So then you start thinking, only if they're right next to each other, or what if they're 1,000 miles apart or 1,000,000 miles apart? Well, we've done both those experiments.
No way.
Yeah. And so this is what Einstein called, well, it's actually the next slide, but we're building up to spooky action at a distance.
Should I click on the next one? This is Wheeler's delayed choice experiment, right?
Yeah, go to the next one. This is
impossible knowledge.
Yeah, this is just a continuation of the next one. So basically, if any entangled particle shot in opposite directions, this one will behave however the other one behaves. So sorry, I kind of got ahead of myself. This is just a continuation of the last slide.
Okay.
The two entangled particles will behave however their partner behaves. It has nothing to do with whether they're being observed or not. It's whether their partner is being observed or not. So then they scaled that up and they said, what if we send a photon through a fiber optic cable? Next slide. 20 miles in one direction. And it's entangled with another photon going 20 miles in the opposite direction. And so looking at this slide, we have an entangled photon source shooting photons in two opposite directions, and they encounter what's called an interferometer. And the interferometer causes the photon to randomly make a choice to go left or right. Okay? They will always, if this photon goes left, its entangled partner will go right. Now that's
Without
weird.
exception?
Without exception. But here's the thing. The speed of light is not fast enough to account for communication between the two photons.
Oh, wow.
It happens simultaneously.
No way.
So one of two things is possible. Either the photons somehow know what's going to happen, time's an illusion, or they have a way of communicating faster than the speed of light, which
I
is
like that
impossible. Yeah.
But that's impossible. Because nothing travels faster than the speed of light. That's like our measurement.
Yeah. We don't know which one of those it is, but it's one of them.
I like both of them.
They're both pretty wild, right? And they've done this in space using satellites. So we're talking vast distances.
Wow. And no atmospheric distortion or wind or any physical barrier.
Exactly. And so we have a couple of things going on right now. Observation renders matter into existence.
I believe that.
And entangled particles somehow can communicate across vast distances simultaneously.
I believe that too.
But that has a pretty significant consequence on our idea of the universe.
Yes. Pretty much. But then again, it goes back to, I don't want to go in there, but it's the power of thought. That's the most sacred thing. The power of thought, your mind, consciousness, like everything that you're wearing right now, everything, all this happened in the thought, in your thoughts.
What does it mean for us? Maybe nothing, but what does it mean for us that my kitchen isn't there right now?
Only when you open the door and go there?
Yeah. Now it exists in some state. You know what I keep coming back to? A computer analogy.
Yeah.
Think of an open world video game.
Right.
You leave your house in an open world video game.
Right. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
It's gone.
But it's stored. The information is stored somewhere.
And it'll come back if you go back to the house.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Red Dead Redemption.
Exactly.
I love that game.
Can you think of a better metaphor for this idea?
This is not a game. This is a test.
It's alarming. It's an alarming physical finding.
But what are your thoughts? Yes, it is. But what if you had a video camera in the kitchen and you see the refrigerator in the kitchen and you know by looking at the feed from the video camera, right, that you have in your phone, you know, that it's there.
In that case, the video camera is analogous to the which way detector.
Right,
It's
which
being
is
measured.
being observed.
And
because you are observing it through the camera, it exists because you're watching it.
And then you're not really sure.
That's wild.
You're not really sure if the camera is, is consciousness necessary? Because the camera could just be recording the data, and it's not really rendered until you look at the camera.
Yeah, and it's processed in your brain.
Right, and it happens in your brain. So we don't know if a brain's necessary. Is a measurement, could an AI cause matter to render?
Yes.
Or is a conscious brain actually necessary?
A little bit of both.
Who knows? It's like the data is stored somewhere, which is why I was so interested in this idea that black holes store data. By I forget his name, but he's one of Stephen Hawking's guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay,
But how can you test that though?
You can't. But the point is now you have all the elements of the computer.
Right.
You have the data storage, you have the processor, the RAM.
Right.
It just starts to feel a lot like we're inside of something.
We are inside of something.
Yeah.
It's like the Truman Show.
Me
and my movies. I'm sorry.
I'm impressed by you because you're able to come to that conclusion so easily. For me, I really had to look at these and painstakingly
why is that?
Man, it just freaking seems like this is the case,
Right. Yeah, it's a test, man. And oh, that's our cue. It's a test.
The camera turn.
The camera.
If you're watching on YouTube, every once in a while you get a. That's gonna take forever. I don't want to edit it.
I'll edit it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
Send it to me.
okay.
Yeah, I'll do it. iMovie. You do the audio, and I'll do the iMovie.
Oh man, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be
Yeah.
the best YouTube video we've posted. I'll make the thumbnail for YouTube.
Cool. Right here.
Just a picture of that. Dude, I'm buzzed, man. This is not the level of professionalism I was hoping to deliver.
Well, we're not physicists anyway. We're just chatting.
We're just chatting. You mentioned Arthur Conan Doyle's book, Sherlock Holmes, or books. Mm-hmm. Got a quote.
Okay.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. And this is something that I would say most scientists, physicists, rationalists are not really able to do in this regard. This is where we get the idea, what we learned in school, that light behaves like a particle in a wave. When you heard that, did you think all of this is what that was based on?
No, not at all.
This is completely, I mean, they're right. Light can behave like a particle when it's being observed, but that's not how we were taught. It's like, it has a little bit of both, it's
non-chromatic, chromatic light.
It's wild.
Yeah, non-colloidal, colloidal light, laser. That was the extent of it.
I want to read a few pages of a book.
Vale. Okay.
Nothing. That's just great TV, watching someone read. So
Yes, Trevor.
but I think it's worth it. And then I can kind of end my presentation and we can just chat. Okay. Will you grab me that second, the biocentrism?
Yes.
On the bottom.
Yeah. This one here.
Yeah, it's like a Jenga tower. Hold that bar of silver. Tell me what you feel when you hold that.
Okay.
Pretty impressively hefty, right?
Does it exist because it's in my hand?
Because you're observing it.
And
That's a great point about, because when I first learned this, my issue was, what about touch? I get that something renders when you see it, but I'm holding this. It's real,
And I can measure the mass of it with.
We'll talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
So,
this is kind of cool. Where'd you get this?
Kurt, our guest we had.
Yeah, Kurt is awesome.
He talked me
Shout out to Kurt.
He talked me into every once in a while buying some precious metals.
Nice. This is 1 kilo.
Yeah, it's just permanence, It's not it's probably a terrible investment. Although I bought it for $300, it's worth $1,000.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How long ago?
That whole book is filled with silver coins right there.
Nice. What, how long ago?
I used to be into flipping land. We could talk about
remember that.
Yeah. And I bought a bunch of properties at auction for like $100 each and sold them for $1,000 each.
Nice.
And I bought some silver.
Dude,
one of them was in Kurt's area, actually.
No way.
Yeah. That was that was not a good investment.
Gold does not weight this much, does it?
Gold's heavier.
No.
Yeah.
This is pretty heavy, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gold's heavier per unit.
Gram?
The
unit?
Heavier per volume. Per unit volume.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
People are like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, these guys are out there.
I think there's something cool about a pure alloy that is so industrially useful, like silver and gold. It's in everything. It's in our phones. I'm into it. Okay.
Well, so were the Spaniards
Yeah.
when they got all the gold from Mexico.
I can't really afford gold. I have one gold coin.
Or silver, actually.
Silver's cheap.
They took all of it.
Do you know how much gold is right now? It's like $2,000 an ounce.
No way.
Just a little coin's $2,000.
Amazing.
Way more than diamonds. I mean, if people are into jewelry, diamonds are expensive, right? But when you actually look at the real value of the materials, gold is
gold standard,
double
baby.
platinum. It's
Gold standard.
100x silver. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, we're way off topic. Anyway, I always thought precious metals were silly until Kurt got me hooked. All right, so I'm going to read a chapter out of a book. We've talked about it before. It's not a chapter, sorry. It's a couple pages. The book is called Biocentrism. It's written by a really outstanding scientist in the field of regenerative medicine and a physicist who co-wrote the book with him. It's called The Sound of a Falling Tree. Who hasn't considered, or at least heard the old question, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody is there, does it make a sound?
I've heard of that.
If we conduct a quick survey of friends and family, we shall find that the vast majority of people answer decisively in the affirmative. Of course, a falling tree makes a sound. Right?
Mm-hmm.
With a touch of pique, as if this were a question too dumb to merit a moment's contemplation. By taking the stance, what people are actually averring is their belief in an objective, independent reality. Obviously, the prevailing mindset is of a universe that exists just as well without us as with us.
Mm-hmm.
This fits entirely with the Western view, held at least since biblical times, that little me is of small importance or consequence in the cosmos. If you consider or perhaps have sufficient science background for a realistic sonic appraisal of what actually occurs when that tree falls in the woods. What is the process that produces sound? So if the reader will forgive a quick return to 5th grade earth science, here's a summary. Sound is created by a disturbance in some medium, usually air, although sound travels even faster and more efficiently through denser materials like water. Limbs, branches, and trunks violently striking the ground create rapid pulses of air. A deaf person can readily feel some of these pulsations. They are particularly blatant on the skin when the pulses repeat with the frequency of 5 to 30 times a second. I'm going to skip ahead. Okay. Tiny rapid puffs of wind basically is what sound is. There's no sound attached to them. It's tiny rapid puffs of wind. Mm-hmm. Now let's add an ear to the scene. If someone is nearby, the air puffs physically cause the ear tympanic membrane to vibrate, which then stimulates nerves only if the air is pulsing between 20 and 20,000 times a second. If you're over 40, between 20 and 10,000 times per second.
Kidding. We're losing hearing.
That's right. Even less if you spent your youth at rock concerts, which I know you did.
Rock star.
Air that pulses 15 times a second is not any different from air that pulses 30 times, yet the former will never result in the perception of sound. Mm-hmm. In any case, nerves stimulated by the moving eardrum send electrical signals to a section of the brain, resulting in the cognition of a noise. This experience then is inarguably symbiotic. The pulses of air by themselves do not constitute anything resembling sound, which is obvious because 15 pulse air puffs remain silent. 20 puff per seconds you can hear. Mm-hmm. Only when a specific range of pulses are present does the ear's neural architecture let human consciousness conjure the noise experience. In short, an observer, an ear, and a brain are every bit as necessary for the experience of sound as are the air pulses. The external world and consciousness are correlative, and a tree that falls in an empty forest creates only vibrations of air, tiny puffs of wind. Okay. I'm still not convinced, right?
Right.
It's like, okay, let me see if the video is still working. It's like, I get it, but that doesn't make me think that reality is not real, right? When I'm not there. Mm-hmm. But we'll go on. Is this okay?
Yeah, man.
Okay. When someone dismissively answers, of course a tree makes a sound if no one's nearby, they are merely demonstrating their inability to ponder an event that nobody attended. They're finding it too difficult to remove themselves from the equation. They somehow continue to imagine themselves present when they are absent. That's a good sentence.
Yeah.
Because when you think about the tree falling in the woods, you're like, of course it makes a sound because you're putting yourself there. Yeah, it makes a sound, but it doesn't. Now consider a lit candle placed on a table in that same empty forest. I'm skipping a joke he's trying to make. He tries to be funny sometimes. Even if we contradict quantum experiments and allow that electrons and all other particles have assumed actual positions in the absence of observers, which we know they can't, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a non-existent wave in reality until we're there, that light.
Right.
Much more on this later. The flame is still merely a hot gas. Like any source of light, it emits photons or tiny packets of waves of electromagnetic energy. Each consists of electrical and magnetic pulses. These momentary exhibitions of electricity and magnetism are the whole show, the nature of light itself. It's easy to recall from everyday experience that neither electricity nor magnetism have visual properties. So on its own, it's not hard to grasp that there is nothing inherently visual, nothing bright or colored about that flame. Now let these same invisible waves strike a human retina, and if, and only if, the waves happen to measure between 400 and 700 nanometers from crest to crest, then their energy is just right to deliver a stimulus to the 8 million cone-shaped cells in the retina. Each in turn sends an electrical pulse to a neighbor neuron, and on up the line it goes at 250 miles an hour until it reaches the warm, wet occipital lobe of the brain in the back of the head. There, a cascading complex of neurons fire from the stimuli, and we subjectively objectively perceive this experience as a yellow brightness occurring in a place we have been conditioned to call the world. Other creatures receiving the identical stimulus will experience something altogether different, a perception of gray, or something completely dissimilar that we can't comprehend. The point is, there isn't a bright yellow light out there at all. At most, there is an invisible stream of electric and magnetic pulses. We are totally necessary for the experience of what we'd call a yellow flame. What do you think?
Well,
There's one more little section, but what do you think about
consciousness is what renders reality.
That's it, man. I love the word renders. Because it's not like it's out there, right? The data is out there.
Right. It's unorganized.
It's
data.
A cloud of probability.
Right. And so our consciousness makes it probable based upon our computations, organic computations.
This processor in our brain forces it to take a form.
Right. And we are forced into that reality based upon our traumas and our thoughts in our formative years. That's why it's important to, have an open brain and exposed to as many realities.
It does make you wonder, like, how much influence do I have? Because you could still
tremendous.
You
as a parent?
Right.
Oh my gosh, you're it.
But then how much...
Like, their mystery is your fault. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's true. But then it's like, how much influence do I have over reality? I mean, reality can still be objective.
Your own or someone else's?
My perception of reality. Or, man, that's a tough...
I know, I'm sorry. Because you have your own reality.
I've had too much delirium.
It's okay. Yeah. You have your
shared
own reality.
Actual reality. I don't think we have any influence over actual reality still.
The thing is, we're imposing our realities into our children.
Yeah. That's for sure true.
Right? That's crazy.
Should we hand ram this thing home? We're almost done.
Well, might as well.
This is all we got left.
Just do it. Might as well.
Consider an even more intuitive example. Rainbows. The sudden appearance of those prismatic colors juxtaposed between mountains can take our breath away. But the truth is, we are absolutely necessary for the rainbow's existence. When nobody's there, there is no rainbow. Not that again, you might be thinking, but hang in there. This time it's more obvious than ever. 3 components are necessary for a rainbow. There must be sun, there must be raindrops, and there must be a conscious eye or its surrogate film at the correct geometric location. If your eyes look directly opposite the sun, at an anti-solar point, which is always marked by the shadow of your head, the sunlit water droplets will produce a rainbow that surrounds that precise spot at a distance of 42 degrees. But your eyes must be located at that spot where the refracted light from the sunlit droplets converges to complete the required geometry. A person next to you will complete his or her own geometry and will be at the apex of a cone for an entirely different set of raindrops, and therefore will see an entirely different rainbow. The rainbow is very likely to look like yours, but it needn't be so. The droplets their eyes intercept may be of a different size. Larger droplets make for a more vivid rainbow, while at the same time robbing it of blue, for example. Almost done. Then, too, if the sunlit droplets are close, as from a lawn sprinkler, the person next to you might not see a rainbow at all. Your rainbow is yours alone, but now we get to our point. What if no one's there? There is no rainbow.
Right.
An eye-brain system or its surrogate, a camera, whose results will only be viewed later by a conscious observer, must be present to complete the geometry. As real as the rainbow looks, it requires your presence just as much as it requires the sun and rain. In the absence of any one or any animal, it is easy to see that no rainbow is there. Or if you prefer, there are countless trillions of potential bows, each one blurrily offset from the next by the minutest margin. None of this is philosophical or speculative. It's a basic science that would be encountered in any earth science class. I skipped one of the most important paragraphs.
Read it. Why?
Thanks. What about if you touch something? Isn't it solid? Push on the trunk of a fallen tree, you feel pressure, but this too is a sensation strictly created by your own mind and only projected to your fingertips, whose existence also lies within the mind. Moreover, that sensation of pressure is caused not by any contact with the solid, but by the fact that every atom is negatively charged electrons in its outer shell. As we all know, charges of the same type repel each other, so the bark's electrons repel yours, and you feel this repulsive force stopping your fingers from penetrating any further. Nothing solid ever meets anything solid in reality. The atoms in your fingers are each as empty as a vacant football stadium in which a single fly sits on the 50-yard line. If we needed solids to stop us, rather than energy fields, your fingers would penetrate the tree as if it were swiping at.
That is amazing. Who wrote this?
He has 3 books. They're all so good. Robert Lanza. He's going to win a Nobel Prize pretty soon, I suspect. But his field is actually biology. Yeah. Oh, but it's co-written by a physicist.
PhD,
yeah. MD,
an
PhD.
MD. Yeah. Dual doctorate.
And then Bob Lanza is Bob. I forget the other guy's name. He's a physicist.
So they know what they're talking about.
They know what they're talking about, man. Now there are
Robert Lenz.
There are alternative views. There's this guy. Someone today told me to listen to some tapes from this guy, but there's a guy who thinks it's actually the opposite way. Matter creates consciousness. There's quantum vibrations in the microtubules. Blah blah blah. So who knows? But we just keep coming back to these experiments in the 50s and 60s and 70s that people just like to ignore.
Right.
They like to ignore them.
Right.
But
people don't like to think nowadays. That's the thing. It's so easy just to fall into the default.
Exactly.
Right? The bare minimum, the default state of mentality, which is why I think harder when I can get it done with just minimal.
Exactly.
So sad.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're just trying to get through the day. You know, you have a real issues. You got to pay rent.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes it's tough to speculate on the nature of reality, but
absolutely.
But when you have a minute to think about
it is true. I'm going to put the book here. But the thing is, remember the stages? I think we talked about it more than 10 years ago. Survival.
Yeah.
Right? Stability, success, and then significance.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're a survival stage, it's like you say, you got to pay the rent, you got to meet the ends, and you got to eat, right? So you survival, and then it's like you read more, you delve into information, and then you get stable, right? You stabilize, you get a nice paycheck, and everything is nice. And then you get bored, and then it's like, you know what? I'm just going to be successful.
I've got some,
right? And then significance.
You see that throughout history,
and cities.
When
people.
When you're a hunter-gatherer just trying to get your next meal, you don't really have time to develop physics,
Right.
But,
I'm gonna put a silver.
But then once a society emerges, you can specialize and
right.
And I think now you're right. I think we're living in a time where most people just really don't have the luxury to entertain the idea of the double slit experiment.
Right. They just want to just get by.
Yeah.
I mean, we did survive a pandemic.
Right.
That happens every 100 years.
It doesn't make you any more.
Some didn't survive.
It doesn't give you any competitive edge to understand the double slit experiment. But maybe it does give you.
I think it does, Trevor. And that's why you're so interested, and that's why I'm interested, because it gives you, you know what? Choice.
Knowing that.
Choice to what to observe, what to listen to, who to talk to, what to eat. All those things are, even though they're matter, they are fitting your consciousness, right? It's all fitting your organism that fits your consciousness. That's why food is very important.
Yeah.
I think
there's
exercising.
Something.
So it's important. Like, how do you want to make your reality? Like, how do you want this movie to play out?
Yeah. There is something powerful about knowing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, everything, all of this is occurring in my mind.
Right.
Things aren't happening to me. I'm creating this.
Right.
Now, the truth is there's other conscious agents doing the same thing, and you can have negative interactions with them. So you can't just completely turn
have that all the time.
Inwards, but
every day.
But most of the time, most of the things that you encounter, it's just happening up in here. You can
everything.
You can deal with it.
Everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why people get it. The perception of reality. Some people have a distorted perception of reality. Right, which is the trouble.
You see that all the time. I mean, that's most people who are going through something, any kind of mental health issue, it's just they don't see things the way most people would see them.
Well, it's rough, and it's a whole chimichanga. It's like the emotional health and the mental health, the physical health, So it's rough, man. But it really, it's like allostatic loads. It's really bad when it's constantly like that. Like if you realize you have a mental health, like seek help.
Yeah.
That's key. But if you don't see you having issues, that's a problem.
We've covered the full gamut. We've gone from physics and nature, reality, mental health.
It is consciousness.
What does this do? This knowledge, what does it do for your perception of the universe? Anything?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Well, there used to be a time when I used to play video games a long time ago. I mean, I started with a Nintendo. It's been that long. And, it goes through phases. I'm not a gamer, but I enjoy games that actually give me a sense of freedom, such as...
Like an open world game.
Yeah, such as... GTA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the same guys, which is Naughty Dog, I think is what it's called.
I don't know.
Yeah. They also created Red Dead Redemption.
Yes, yeah.
I love that game. Like, it takes me back to the 1800s. You ride a horse, and then you have so many interactions. But you're right. It doesn't exist. Like, you go into the city, but it's not in the game. You can hear the little disc spinning.
Yep.
Right? The city around spinning, trying to render that city.
That's it. It's like everything in a game exists in a state that is computationally not demanding.
Right.
It's a low resource demand until you force it to render with your actual frame of reference being focused on it. I feel that's what we're in, man.
We're in the frontier. Yeah.
Something made this.
Yeah.
Something made this.
Yeah.
It has rules. It has limitations.
Yes, for a reason.
Yeah, there's fundamental laws.
It started as an analog memory, right? And then we have lived the digital age, right? With CDs are long gone, cassettes are long gone. Now it's digital. The next step is organic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Which is what they're trying to do now. Like everything, like the memory has to be organic, and all those terabytes and all this data.
We're obviously, whatever this is obviously something that we're never gonna understand. I don't want to say never.
I hope we don't.
Yeah.
This is not our realm.
But we have enough understanding to
get in trouble.
So we'll just start to be able to draw metaphors.
Right.
Oh, okay. I get, before computers, there'd be no way for us to talk about rendering reality from store,
Oh, yeah.
We're developing
the IBM computer, supercomputer back in the, I think, 60s or 70s. Right. The whole room, it was just IBM. I think it was called Blue, right? You can only, talk to those people, what we're doing right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these experiments in the 50s, these guys didn't have that frame of reference that we have now.
But they knew something was up. That's why they were running this.
You listen to these physicists, you read the things they actually said. They sound like pot smoking hippies of today. The things they were, the conclusions they're coming to.
Yeah.
So it's all been papered over, man. We don't learn any of that anymore.
It's been suppressed.
We don't talk about any of these experiments other than to say we determined that light behaves like a particle in a wave.
It'll give people power. This information will empower people. It'll basically tell them you have control of your life.
I think that's a good lesson to take from here.
Don't be part of the whole mainstream. You're in control of your life, but that will get suppressed. No entity or controlling entity will want any individual to think that way, if you think about it.
Yeah, I come back to that a lot. What does this information actually do for me? And I think one thing it does for me is it really, because keep in mind, I've been an atheist most of my life, right? I have to mention that. And it's man, this, I hear this, and maybe I'm just searching for meaning, but I hear this and I'm like, this just has the hallmarks of something created. You know, this just feels like something that was made.
Analog, digital, organic.
Like I don't exactly. You can't the Big Bang evolution. Not that I don't believe in that. Those could all be part of this.
It's our own. It's like PS5 or PS10 in the future is trying to make sense of the games being played.
Right. Exactly. But it's like those things don't explain matter.
It's like I'm going to explain to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to explain to my own limited self how this was created. You know how dumb that sounds?
Yeah.
We're so beyond comprehending. We're a couple hundred years ago away from that happening.
I think so.
Easily.
But do you ever wonder if there are some people that actually have a pretty good understanding of
They're
this?
not with us anymore.
Oh, okay.
Or they're writing books like that. Or
they had an accident in a small aircraft or a hot tub.
Yeah. Oh man, I try to keep it scientific. I'm sorry. We always either have to go back to the Bible, religion, or conspiracy.
I've been reading more and more about things in the Bible, Sumerian.
That's cool.
Sumerian literature.
Writings, sure. You're going back.
And you're just like, man,
Going back to the origins.
Yeah, it's just it all kind of now I'm really starting like tinfoil hat, but it just all you just start to recognize patterns. Like, oh, this thing fits with that, and this thing fits with that.
Right, connecting dots.
And it's like it really makes sense to me that we're not in a base reality.
No.
And we're in a reality, right? I mean, the kitchen is there in a sense. The data is stored somewhere.
I'm 5 minutes away from your house, but I really don't exist until we talked.
Unless your neighbor's looking out his window at your house, right? No, but that's the thing. You exist. I exist. Well, yeah. Now we're getting into a whole thing, but I like to think of us as like conscious agents inside of this.
Oh, for sure.
This hologram.
And yeah, things get tricky when it talks about consciousness, but when it comes to matter, inorganic matter or organic matter, for just matter, it's different. Like the fridge, right? It's there, or is it really there?
But now you're talking about, are you here? And it's like, well, consciousness clearly has some special place, because if it's causing matter to be rendered into this reality, it means something. We don't know exactly what it means.
Well, the difference is the fridge doesn't have a soul.
Right.
And we do.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the fridge doesn't cause the matter nearby to be rendered. There's a distinction. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that's way more powerful. So it's a different type of matter. Again, we're organic, and that's something else. It's not organic. But then again, trees are organic, but they don't have consciousness, or do they? There are some theories, man, that plants stuck to themselves if you put them together.
That is interesting.
A lot of biologists, they don't even want to dwell on that a whole lot, but they see patterns of growth and death whenever you have certain types of trees and plants together.
There's a lot of things that point to
they communicate.
At the bare minimum, you could say just reflexive physiology. Like the fact that a lot of plants will release toxins if you play the sound of plants being chewed near them.
Right.
Because they go, oh, our friends are being eaten. We should make ourselves more poisonous.
That's crazy, man.
You could say that's just a physiological reflex, but that's knocking at the door.
But how are they
of consciousness?
Yeah. How are they talking to each other? How are they communicating?
It's just like it's not consciousness in the way we understand it, I guess.
But it's more like, that's why it's called a reflex.
Yeah,
I get it. It's like the mom or a woman hearing a baby cry, even if they're not their baby, they're gonna have some biomarkers release.
Yeah. And so you could say that's below the level of consciousness, I guess.
Yeah. But that's human. But
to me, consciousness comes down to just a perception of self. Where I'm here, I'm located right here. This is mine. When bad things happen to me, I feel them.
Right.
I don't want to die. I'm hungry. Just that self-awareness,
that gets distorted though, and that's when it gets tricky, when you start adding different
animals.
Events.
That's why I think animals have it.
Okay.
right? I mean, they have a self-awareness, a perception of self.
They do.
Now,
They just don't have a soul.
I guess I don't know what that means,
Yeah, you're right.
but
That's a topic for another.
yeah, I don't really know what that means.
Yeah.
Man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This was great. I don't know if I conveyed what I was trying to convey or not, but at the very least, I hope people will have walked away from this knowing that our understanding of what this is, the stuff around us, is not maybe quite exactly what we thought.
Or yes, or you can make it your own liking. Like the four walls can be different walls.
I see. That's where I'm not quite sure. Like,
Okay.
is this?
Because we're here observing it.
This could be stored somewhere, and if I really want to believe that the wall's purple, it's not. So I don't know. That's an interesting point, though, because if you are generating reality in your mind,
And I think there is a hierarchy of reality, because a color can be debated. And I was having this conversation with someone else, right? You can say, "Oh, the sky is blue," and then someone else can say, "Oh, no, it's kind of gray." I'm like, "No, it's blue. No, it's gray," and that's that.
and how do you really know? Let's say you both agree.
You really don't.
Say you both agree it's blue, but you have no idea what blue looks like to that person.
That's what I'm saying. It's so subjective, and so
Yeah.
is pain. So there's that, and then you have facts, right?
Yeah.
You have like Monday comes after Sunday.
Right.
I don't care what anyone says. Like,
Right.
Monday comes after Sunday,
Yeah.
right? So that's a fact. You can't debate that, right? Facts are
You
facts.
could. I mean, you could. This is all subjective.
Well, good luck with that. Like, we will not be in this room together talking if you think Tuesday comes after Sunday. But colors, pain, subjective stuff, it's just that. And so the reality, what I'm saying about hierarchy, I think facts are it's like a meta-analysis.
Does this? Sorry to change the subject.
No, that's fine.
Does this have any bearing on the afterlife? I don't think it does.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it, because here's what we know. Here's what we know. This to me makes it sound like, okay, this universe was designed, it was created.
It's a game.
We're living within it. There's something outside of it.
It's a virtual reality.
It's a holographic universe. It's a
Yes.
it's a virtual reality.
Yes.
Whatever that means, this doesn't necessarily mean that, when you die in the game that you just pop up in a new game. It might.
Continue.
It could.
9.
Continue. Yeah. Enter quarter,
That's right. We don't know that. No one knows.
No, we don't.
It's nice.
That's what's so. That's what's so.
No one knows because no one has come back to it. Well, Jesus, but you have to believe. See, and that's where faith comes in.
So what's Jesus? Is he just somebody who figured out how to mess with the rules of the game, or is he?
He was the one who created the game.
Design, or he actually created it.
He's the one who created. Sorry, we're out.
I
I have 805s over there. That's fine. It was beautiful because it was the architect who came down and played with the game with the gamers with the actual. That's kind of cool, man. It's like Tron. Have you seen Tron?
But here's my issue with that. Not to alienate all of the Christian listeners, but he's not the only figure like that.
Right.
There's been many.
But he's the only one who said he is coming from the guy himself.
I guess so.
Yeah, he's the son of God. He's the one who claimed that.
Well, I mean, plenty of people have claimed that. He's the only one that we might believe.
We are scientists, so let's base it on then outcomes.
Okay.
Right? So look at the outcomes, right? Like the things that he did.
Yeah, this will have to be another episode. Because
the things that he did for the people, for his own creation. Right? Because we were a mess. I mean, we were a mess then. Right now, we're lost.
I don't know enough about, obviously, the Bible, about history to really have an opinion.
You know enough to get in trouble.
An outsider looking in, I would say, there are a lot of figures like that. In other faiths,
In
know?
other religions.
and they'll be just as adamant as Christians will be.
But let's read the outcomes though. The outcomes are not the greatest.
I don't know what that means.
Meaning that they were not thinking for the people; they were just thinking for themselves.
Like Osiris, Muhammad.
Hmm.
Those people had worse outcomes.
They're not the outcomes for us. They're the outcomes for them.
For the people, the believers,
for themselves. Yeah. What they did, it was to fulfill themselves.
But how do you know? We don't know. We weren't there.
No one really knows anything.
We have no idea.
So again, there's a leap of faith, right? There's a leap of faith. So we are in the West and we believe in the Bible, and that's what it was. Just we grew up, we were exposed to that, whether you like it or not.
I really wasn't, but
oh, no kidding. I mean, you knew about it.
I mean, I've heard of it.
That's it. I mean, did you hear about the Quran?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
At the same time as the Bible, or you heard more of the Bible versus the Quran?
I haven't read anything in the Bible. I mean,
okay.
I'm starting to now. I'm trying to. Not that I'm trying to. I'm reading kind of like things about the Bible. I need to actually go read the Bible. I know.
Well, it's a living word.
Yeah.
It's a living word. But
according to
the word.
According to you. Because if I go fly to a different country, they're going to tell me that there's some other text that's the word.
And they're exactly.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to if it's improving your life or if it's not improving your life.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can make that. I mean, you can make that case for everything.
I'm not gonna say because we're doing a show, but we'll talk about it off the record.
I mean, I'm not trying to be combative. I'm actually, full disclosure, I'm very interested in
so
learning
would you
more
consider yourself an atheist?
Not anymore. No. I've definitely moved from like atheist to
what happened?
Whatever's the next level. A lot of this kind of stuff.
No kidding.
Yeah. Because I've always kind of considered myself fairly objective.
Like super skeptical?
No, I mean, no, because I guess, but skepticism I think is a tool, and it can be kind of wielded in any direction. It can be wielded towards mainstream science. It can be wielded towards religion. So, so I think that skepticism definitely did sort of push me away from religion because I kept coming back to the idea of my beliefs, the person's beliefs next to me are 100, let's say 98% dictated by the location on earth that they were born. Mm-hmm. And so that strikes me as odd, to say that like, this is for sure right. Because I know if I was born over there, I would be saying the exact same thing in the other direction.
Do you think then human consciousness is ruled by a universal set of morals? What's right and what's wrong?
Gosh, this is late in the show to be asking.
Yeah, well, you took it there because you said it was based on geographical.
Here's kind of what I think. Here's what I'm starting.
Do you think that person? Sorry. Do you think that person, let's say, born in Europe, another person in Asia, Africa?
Yeah.
Do you think they're all capable of knowing? Let's go there because that was the first sin. Well, the second. Killing someone, killing another human sentient being, right?
Yeah.
It's bad. It's wrong. It's not good.
Right.
Do you think all of those people living in geographical areas know that?
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
So can we then conclude that they're all regulated by this human consciousness of what's good and what's wrong, regardless of what their literature is?
I like to think so.
Yeah. I think so too, man.
Yeah.
I think so. So it makes me think that we already innate.
But just in your mind,
we have that.
Consider
already.
the possibility that could be evolutionary driven.
Let's say that's true.
Because if psychopathy,
it's survival.
If psychopathy was a successful strategy, it would have been selected for by evolution, but it's not. Right. They get rejected by society. So you have to follow the rules of society.
I
actually, we've talked that I have a lot of issues with evolution, so I'm not trying to be like this.
Right.
But
No, that's fine. That's fine. But then again, society tells you what's normal.
right.
And then you have normal and then you have natural.
Yeah.
Two different concepts. And I'm going to go there, and I think we're heading towards the end of the show.
This is good.
I know.
Go ahead.
So what's natural? So let me give you an example. What's normal for society? It's monogamy, or it's, that. Nature says otherwise. Right? So different story. I mean, we were designed that way, if you really think about it.
What do you mean by nature says otherwise?
I don't want to go there, but
'Cause if you're
all I'm saying is that the society imposes what's normal. Okay, and then natural, it's a different beast.
But all of that, you could easily make a case is driven by evolution.
They both are.
You could make that case. I'm not saying I'm making that case. Back to your point,
Yeah.
I feel better when I think that, being an atheist is not comforting for your soul, So it was never something that I enjoyed being.
Well, yeah. What did I read? That it requires more faith to be an atheist than not.
I think that's true. I 100%.
Like it requires a lot of work because there's so many things pointing otherwise.
Okay, but again, I don't think the work is because of evidence. I think the work is because of the way you feel.
Subjective.
Well, no, I mean, come
Perception.
on. What normal human wants to believe that in a blink of an eye, your existence will be over? It's nice to be alive.
For you and I, but I mean, anxiety, depression, it's rampant, man. It's
I mean, obviously people do take their own life. So
so it's an issue. It's an issue, and it has to. We're still trying to find. Well, I don't know about we, but they are still trying to find a way to kind of fix that for some. Because all those things are just operating systems. It's a software issue. It's a firmware, and they're trying to figure out which patch. If you know, if you know what I mean.
But the things that you're saying right now, like, it was never like, it could just be that all of these different religions are kind of picking up on pieces of one truth. There is this actual truth.
I agree with you on that.
Whatever it is.
I agree in a lot of things, and I agree with that as well.
And it's like this club feels this way, and they have their team, and this club feels that way, and this feels that way.
But we're all in a game.
Sure. Yeah.
And that I'm going to tell you another quote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we're all in the same game, just different levels.
Yeah, I've heard that. You've
right?
said that. I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Playing with different hells.
Yeah.
Just with different devils.
I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
It's just saying that exactly what you're saying is like we just have different perceptions of reality. Right?
Yeah.
After all. And so this is what
ties it in to this.
This is saying.
But this is like, I think the stuff we talked about tonight, I think is a huge piece of evidence for what you're saying. I hate to use the word design, but
why?
Well, it means something.
It implies an architect.
It implies a specific view of the world. It doesn't, and it shouldn't, because we really don't understand it. So to force this idea like God, whatever that means.
But you feel it though. We were designed to feel that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, there are times like when you're, let's say, with your family, with your children, it's like pure love, like with your kids, and now it's like, oh, the whole world can go to hell, and I'm just happy.
100%.
Well, that's it. We were kind of designed for that.
But you don't need to be a Christian to feel that.
Oh, feeling, and saying you were created. It's way different than saying you're a Christian.
But you can be created. You can feel that you were created and not be a Christian. That's my point.
Yes, of course.
That was always my issue.
Oh, I see.
It's like we don't know. the certainty drives me crazy. It's repulsive when people are like, let me tell you how it works.
No. Don't sell that to me.
And it's like, I would place so much more faith and trust in you if you were like, yeah, we have no idea, but
I have no idea. Like I told you, I don't know if there's a heaven.
Yeah.
I like, no, dude, just don't tell me. Don't install your software in my computer.
Say, hey, these are the things we're seeing. We're seeing that we have no idea how the universe was created.
Bottom line, can you accept that, or are you going to crumble and malfunction?
And I feel the same way about scientists when they're like evolution. Okay,
it's extremist.
But you have no idea
right.
how life originated.
So Einstein was right. See, he said the more we know, the less we know. Right?
Yeah. I didn't know he said that. That's good.
No, I just made that up.
Okay. Because people will just Google it.
I don't know. Fact check. Oh, even that is faulty. But
maybe should we call it? What do you think? When did we start? Have we been talking for an hour?
I have no idea. I'm just drinking and talking.
I could talk forever. I just want to be careful.
And then the way we sound
great, and we're in person is fantastic. I don't even know. Are we even? Let's see. Are we even still recording our faces?
I don't know. I've been standing up and clicking on that.
What are we gonna call? Oh, we're so out of focus, and the camera's frozen. Oh no.
Okay. Well, at least we have the audio. We're not gonna post this, the video, but at least we have the audio.
But the power. Oh no, you're moving. We're just out of focus. You just next time you do, you just gotta hold your little finger. You hold your little finger on the.
Oh, I haven't been doing that. So probably the whole thing is out of focus.
It's fine, man. I think having the PowerPoint is worth it. But
no, I think having the podcast, and then we can post the PowerPoint online, and then you can look it up.
YouTube,
actually
on YouTube.
On YouTube,
yep,
yeah.
Yep.
Or our website, or the website.
We'll put it on the website too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go.
And going forward, we'll have good video. Going forward, we'll have good video, and anyway, just I guess to start winding down, you asked me, do I consider myself an atheist? No, I don't. Most of my life, I would have said yes, and I would have argued adamantly.
How did that work out?
Fine.
Exactly.
I mean, it's okay.
Exactly, because you were. It was meant to be that way.
Yeah, for sure. And there was that. Again, I'm like, my worldview is really, it's almost more pushed in one direction or the other by the negative, because like when I see scientists displaying the same types of things that drove me crazy about religious people, I'm like, okay, I gotta reconsider my worldview. I'm treating science like a religion, and it's not. It's a methodology. It's a process.
It's a process. And remember, there's always a perfect error.
And most
perfect error needs to be there for the reality to happen.
And nice. And most scientists through history were religious. I mean, they were. And I just don't. I think it's just the word religion, because religion to me implies
religion is man-made.
A set of beliefs. Exactly. That's what it is.
Religion was again. Society imposed by society to normalize, again, normal versus nature, to normalize people, because I'm sorry, but we humans are not the greatest. We tend to, Peterson said that if we didn't have laws and regulations, every human will run a red light if we didn't have consequences of that.
Yeah,
because that's we just need to get there, point A from B, and who cares about the rest? So what does that tell? So religion, which is man-made, and I had a discussion with someone about religion a few years ago or months ago. Anyway, that it was man-made, and that person did not like it. Did not take it well.
What else could it be? Made by God?
Right.
Well, which one?
All of them.
Each
or whatever God is geographically placed.
Okay, exactly. I mean, that's.
But it was meant. So he finally came to terms.
You could make that case that they're all man-made, but you just can't be so certain that everyone else is wrong. I mean, you just got to be like, hey, we're all just walking our own path.
Just to go onto others. Yeah. Again, it comes back to the social conscious, the human consciousness, not social, human consciousness of do what's right and what's wrong.
And my friend, who is my good friend that we interviewed on the show,
Yeah.
would say that this type of talk is 100% satanic, because as soon as you say
Cool.
that, like, we're all just trying to find out who God is in our own way, like, no,
That's impossible.
that type of inclusivity is satanic.
That's okay.
And
Everyone is
confusing.
entitled to live in their bubble.
Exactly.
It's okay.
And so I think I've been exposed to a lot of that.
And you know what? Let's go back to that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's necessarily wrong. And I think his perception of reality, if the outcomes, and we're gonna come back to that again, if he does well to others and he's a member of society and he's
Sure.
a good friend,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah. 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Live in that bubble.
Yeah.
Be happy. I don't care. Just be good. Like, be there when I need you. You know,
Yeah.
pay your taxes. Just be a good guy, you know?
But it's like,
You can't change people.
it's
Trevor.
like, do you really believe it's satanic?
No. Listen.
Because, like, what does that mean? Like,
Well, it
shouldn't
mean-
you do everything in your
It means-
power to
and they
destroy
go back.
it? Then?
They
Like,
go back, and I have friends like that. They go back to the whole thing. So you can be cold or hot. I mean, you can be lukewarm, either hot or cold.
right.
So lukewarm is satanic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So either you're hot or you're cold. But who cares, man? People are gonna label you
Yeah, I don't really
anyway. But I think the fact that he's your friend, that kind of bothers you.
No, it does. It's just,
Not that it bothers you, but it's like.
but that's the
maybe you
aspect.
Can do better than that.
That's I think the reason I keep coming back to that is, like, when I would tell someone that I'm atheist,
You think you're satanic?
it was what I meant. They actually, I have funny stories about that. But
Oh my God.
what I actually meant was that I wasn't religious in that sense.
And it's okay.
Yeah, I don't think I ever. I mean, I probably did mean.
I have to admit, today I got shit for saying that I don't need to go to church to find God.
Yeah,
So I was not.
that's the kind of stuff that pushes me right back. I'm like, yeah.
They're looking at
yeah.
me. It's like, oh, what do you mean? It's like, I think churches are like hospitals.
Yeah,
Like, you only go there like when you need to go there.
right. That's awesome.
You know, like, if you're broken, you go to the hospital.
'Cause
Like, hey, something is wrong with you. Then you go. Like, if you're healthy, like, preventative care, like, I'm good with God. I have good communication. I think I do good. I'm a generous guy. I try to do that. I don't need to go to church to get refill. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, I feel the least connected with some kind of, like, universal truth at a church.
Yeah, because it's man-made.
But that might just be some issue that I have that I need
there's
to get
nothing
over.
wrong with that.
But it just feels like a societal ritual.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like
I actually talk to God more when between trees and the forest or the
yeah, I
the
like
desert.
yeah.
I have a one-on-one communication.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be.
There is
like.
some stuff in the Bible about getting together with other people is like a good thing. though.
Yeah, well, that person. Funny you said that. That person dropped that. So he's like, well, he said to get together
Whenever two or more people.
we'll get together and congregate. I was like, by how many?
Who said that though? I mean,
Like, how many? 1, 2. Like, I can congregate with my friend, and I'm good, you know. But then again, that's extreme, man. Like, some people need that in their
Yeah.
life. I don't. I know you don't. I certainly don't.
but you would never give them a hard time about it though.
I will accept them.
But they will give you a hard time about it.
Yes, isn't that cool?
That's what it is. That's the part that gets me, man. Because I've been praying lately.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, like,
There's power in there, man.
I think so. I mean, you could
Oh,
definitely
you're
make
picking up
the
the red phone.
you could definitely make the case like it's just some kind of like form of meditation.
No,
you know?
no.
But it's
There's
nice.
power in that.
It's nice. I
How do
like
you
it.
feel after that or
Good.
during?
Good. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, you're picking up the red phone. That's a direct line upstairs.
I think that's good. Yeah. I think the last time I prayed, I was probably 9 on a plane by myself, and I got.
Well, I would pray too.
I started developing a fear of flying as a kid. Yeah.
Oh, no,
I haven't flown in years.
Well, you know, flying, as
Yeah.
as I found out years ago, it kind of implies you giving your life away. Like, you're putting your life
You have
in
to
a pilot.
relinquish all control.
Yes.
You're like, I know that pilot up there just got divorced.
yes.
I know he's hungover. I know he's on Chantix because he's trying to quit smoking.
Or I know he's like a few flight attendants up his sleeve.
He's banging that flight attendant right there. And that's all he's thinking about when he's flying the plane.
Well, that's
and
why
the captain's 80.
Well, that's why the first officer is there.
Right.
And that's why it's barely flown by computers anyway.
Right. And it's up running on Windows 95. So if they hit Control Delete, this whole thing's going down.
Yeah. It's like the Apollo mission to the moon. It's basically, it has less technology than the actual washer and dryer that we have right now.
Exactly.
Isn't that crazy?
Listen, man, let's go open up 2 more beers and go outside, drink them. Let's wrap this thing up.
All right.
This was such an intense show, man. We talked about the most intense stuff. But the truth,
We're recording.
we're still recording.
Yeah,
I know.
okay.
What I'm realizing though is that I'm just a little bit too buzzed to keep talking.
Are you?
I'm starting to slur a little bit.
Okay.
So for all of our listeners out there, I hope at least some aspect of this was enjoyable. It was it was like a mix of giggling and physics. It was giggle physics.
Dude, they love that stuff though, man.
I hope so. Don't talk about them like they're not there. They're still listening. I'm just messing with you.
What?
I think they do. I
don't even know we're gonna post this.
I think we should. We can't not post the PowerPoint without posting that.
Remember, we can post a PowerPoint on their website, and we set that up.
Yeah, but people aren't getting a PhD from us. They're not going to download the slides for our class, man.
They don't know we have a PhD.
Got to make it.
We never brag about it.
I'm bragging.
Shoot.
We're still going. I haven't hit pause yet. I'm not done. I got to sign off. Sit down. We got to say bye to everybody. All right. So no,
it turned out by itself.
We're not. Is it already off?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay. Well, folks, I got to end it. We're not done. I got to end it.
Oh, we're still in the mic. We're still in the hot mic.
We're still going, man.
Well, you said let's go outside, get 2 beers, and then that's that.
part of my close-up procedure.
Oh my god.
We can't drink anymore in this. This
Tell
is
me
the
something.
one-time thing. Go ahead.
Let me ask you. Tell me something. Isn't this the best podcast?
We'll see. we'll ask. We'll get feedback.
No. So far, I mean,
I don't know. There's something about alcohol. You'll like leave a party thinking, like, "I was so funny tonight," you know. And then the next day, your friends are like, "Dude."
No. Before we start drinking, though, right now it's gone. But I'm saying before we started drinking,
yeah,
we got all excited. It was fun.
Oh, it was great. In person was fantastic. I think we should do it again. It's more like okay. Sorry, listeners, you can't even. Is that even on? I'm waving to the camera. It's not even on, right?
Is it?
I don't know. But I think about podcasts, like the trick is a regularity, like consistency, like 2 episodes a week.
Only if they listen to us.
Yeah. Because people forget about you. You post once a month. People are like, oh, yeah.
No. We can't do it once a month.
So once a week minimum. And so as long as
twice a week even?
I think twice a week is it.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, folks. Thanks for listening to this hot mess of a show.
It was great.
I had fun. That's
and I sound better.
You sound great.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. You're like your baritone is coming through the mic. It's awesome. You need to record an intro for us. You're a musician.
Okay.
It's time.
Okay. We'll think about a good one. Oh no, I like ours.
That's good, but it's not you. We need that personal.
Got it.
Real quick, did you get the music I sent you today?
I liked it.
Did you listen to it?
One of them.
Okay. My point is that is just a podcast host.
True.
It's great. Okay, sorry. Now we got to end it. All right. Folks, thanks for he didn't listen. He didn't. I know for a fact he did. I could tell he didn't listen to it. It was
I did.
It was
the first part. It was good.
Okay.
Oh, Trevor. I'm sorry, man. Next time tell me, hey, you gotta put your headphones. That's what I tell people.
Record like a little intro for us or an outro.
Either I think I'm gonna do.
You might already have something recorded.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do the piano or something like that.
I love it. All right, folks.
I'll give you a few samples.
Folks, thanks for listening. Right about now, hopefully the music is coming in, meaning we're about 30 seconds away from ending. I'll be editing that here in a minute.
Saying, "Oh my gosh, this guy's gone."
It was. I hope everybody had fun. Please visit our website at ourphilosophia.com. Look us up on YouTube. Philosophia, 2 words. Again, there are quite a few people who have picked that name in the last few months.
Of course,
Something must have came out. Like someone must have used it, or I don't know. But we were one of the first.
Exact same thing.
One word, but for some reason it's hard to find us. So if you are listening to us on the podcast, I'll put the YouTube link in the description of the show notes, so you can find us that way. Our website's ourphilosophia.com. Our Instagram is our_philosophia. Check us out. We'll see you next time. Alfredo.
Thank you for listening.
That's it. Take it easy, man.
Take it easy.
Let's go get a beer.
Let's go get a beer.